Hello, I'm going to talk to you about a student I went and saw today in a school. The student's a fifth grader and very bright young girl, and she's having a lot of trouble in the classroom. And so the team was concerned because she's spending the majority of her time in the hallway instead of the classroom. So anytime her behavior started escalating, or every time she started escalating, she would run out of the classroom. And so she was old enough that and big enough they couldn't chase her down. The more they chased her, the more she ran. They couldn't physically get her in because she's a fifth grader. And so we had to come up with a plan on how to keep her in the classroom more and how to even get her back in the classroom once we lost her. So they would have trouble even sometimes at the very beginning of the day. She wouldn't even go into the classroom. And so our job today was to come up with a plan that would just get her back in the classroom and then keep her in the classroom as long as possible, because she is a very bright girl, and last year she was on par academically for the most part with her peers, but this year, since she's not in the classroom very much, she's lost a lot of her academic skills. So family is all on board too, and so we're just trying to come up with a plan. So when we first got there, she was in the hallway, and no matter what they tried to do or offered, she wouldn't budge. And so she had a Chromebook that she took with her out of the classroom. And so they had said if they tried to take the Chromebook away, she would just run or she might hit him. And so we were like, that's not a good option. We're not going to go up there and rip the Chromebook out of her hands. We're not going to try to physically bring her in. So we had to really problem solve through a way on how to engage her and get her back in the classroom. So what we did is my thought to them was, we need to start where we know she'll be okay, right? So I'm not going to go and put demands on her, because based on what the team was saying, her behavior was escape. So it was to avoid work, and it was attention seeking. They felt it was attention seeking, but it was any kind of demand was put on her. It might be just, even if the demand was something that she might like. So it's time for computers. Anytime anybody gave her an instruction, it's almost as though she took that as a demand, and she would start to already escalate. Okay, so I told them, we talked to the team, we're going to be really careful on how we present her information, because just in any kind of verbal presentation of information starts to already escalate her. And our goal with this is to prevent the escalation, because once she's escalated, it's really hard to get her back down. And so, yes, we have to have a plan for if she does escalate, but the majority of our plan, like 95% of it, needs to be about preventing her to escalate. So what I started with was I made a list. Okay, I used my dry erase board, and I made a list. I'll kind of show you what it looks like. And I made a list of just a simple schedule. So a big tip when you're working with anybody with challenging behaviors: talk less, shut up, and use visuals. And so I started off with a list. She could read, very smart girl. I'll show you my list, what it looked like. And the list, I'm going to use the list, and I brought, so it was me and the paraprofessional went to where she was in the hallway. And my goal was to initially just be around her, but not have her feel like she's part of what's going on, because I felt like if I did, it would start her behavior to escalate. I didn't want to put any demands on her, but I wanted, like, the demand right now was just her being around us. Okay, we had to start at that level. So this was essentially what the schedule looked like. Is I said, we're going to do game, computer, math, computer, snack. So the game was, me and the para played the game, and it was a game that she knew, she was familiar with, and she liked. We played it beside her, but not with her. I didn't even invite her, right? Because I knew if I started asking her to play the game, it would probably escalate her behavior. So we just played it with her. We had fun with it. She was close to us, but she didn't participate, or we didn't invite her. Okay, so we did game, and we took a couple turns, and then I scratched off game. Computer, I set my timer for 1 minute. And essentially what, she already had the computer and was on the computer. So essentially what computer time meant was I just backed off from her and let her stay on your computer. Even though she was playing the computer before, I wanted her to see, okay, you get a 1 minute computer. I don't even mess with you at all. I don't even talk to you. Okay. So then the third one was math, and I had 3 easy math problems, and me and the para did the math problems while she was sitting there. But she didn't, once again, she didn't have to participate. She was around and she was hearing what was going on, but I did not put any demands on her. And then number 4 was computer again. So once again, I set my timer for 1 minute. I backed off. We didn't say anything, and she just played on her computer. And then number 5 was snack. So I gave her a snack, or I opened the snack. I ate a couple I gave the para some, and I asked her if she wanted some. She said yes. She ate the snack, and then she started talking to us a little bit more, and then I walked away. The schedule was done. Okay, walked away for a couple minutes, kind of figured out what we were going to do next. Came back, did that same process again, but this time I started including her a little bit more. Okay, so on the game, she was acting like she was interested, so I gave her the choice. Do you want to play the game, or do you want so-and-so to play the game? Okay, do you want to go first? Do you want me to go first? So there's lots of choices, and I really waited to make sure that I saw that she was interested in it. With the math, I said, do you want to answer the math question, or do you want me to answer the math questions? Okay, so I still gave her an out if she wasn't wanting to do the math. I made sure the math was simple. Okay, I didn't want to make it so hard. I didn't want to make it hard for her. I want to make her feel successful, because that's a big piece of it too. Is most of these behaviors, especially in the schools, is around academics. Even though we think they know how to do the academics, they might some point in time, but because of the behaviors, they're struggling. And so we're going to have to modify that work, okay? Because that's what she was telling us, is she's escaping the situation. Okay, and then so we went back, we did it again. Gradually, I started increasing the expectations. We then got her into another room. So she was out in the hallway. We got her into a room, and then eventually we got her back into the classroom. And so once we were in the classroom, she requested to go in the classroom. I set a timer. So there was a math activity that was going on. So I said on this schedule, I put 2 minutes of math, 1 minute of computer, 2 minutes of math, 1 minute of computer. So she was getting those frequent breaks with a reinforcer. Okay, so it was much easier for her to handle if she knew she only had to do it for a certain amount of time or a certain amount of activities. And then she was going to get her reinforcement back. So this process worked really well for her on getting her back into the classroom. However, anytime, like there was one point in time where we were doing a spelling activity and she got it wrong, and I could see her behavior starting to escalate. So I made sure with the team that they really help her get things right from the beginning, because when she doesn't get something wrong and you correct her, it escalates her behavior. If I talk to her about it, it escalates her behavior. Okay, so the big take-home messages that I talked with the team, and I stress to you, if you have students like this who just cannot seem to get to participate in things, is when they're escalating, use very few words. Okay, when you're trying to get them back, don't use words. And this is a very verbal girl, very bright girl, can read, very good academics, but still, she gets overwhelmed with too many words. Okay, write it down. I don't know how many times I've heard, well, she knows that. I told her that. Well, don't tell her, write it down. Okay, write down the list. When she's having a hard day, you're going to need to make your list even smaller steps in order to keep her on track. Because when she has downtime or when she doesn't know what to do, that's when her behaviors start to escalate. Okay, so we talked about reducing the words. We talked about visuals. Choices was a big one for her. So not choices as far as like either do your math or go to timeout. It was, okay, it's time for math. Do you want to do this problem first, or do you want me to do this problem first? Okay, so very reasonable choices for her. Frequent reinforcement. So instead of saying if she's good all day, she's going to get an extra 30 minutes on the iPad or whatever, we built that into her schedule. Okay, so we would do a few activities of work and then something that she enjoyed, either the game, computer. It was short, so we never did it more than a minute. Okay, but she was getting that frequently throughout the day. Okay, because it helped her When she could see that she was going to get reinforcement, it really made everything else easier for us because she was happier, right? Kids have to be happy in order to learn. And so those were the big things that we talked about today that seemed to really work well for her. The verbal, the visual, so writing it down, choices, and then the reinforcement. And all these things helped keep her from having challenging behavior. Now, not to say that it won't happen, because it will, right? All these things, behavior, when you have kids with challenging behavior, it cycles. I absolutely believe that. But when we have to keep coming back to why is this behavior occurring? What do I need to do differently? And then remembering that it's not intentional. It is not a personal thing. So this girl, she wasn't trying to hurt anybody's feelings. She wasn't trying to upset people. She just didn't know what else to do. Okay, so we had to really emphasize that this is not an intentional decision that she's making to irritate us, right, or to get us upset. It's that she doesn't know how to tell somebody that she needs a break. She doesn't know how to get help when she needs. She doesn't know where to go when she needs a break. So all those things are piling up on and causing those challenging behaviors. So we have to really think about all those behaviors as teachable moments, and how do we teach your replacement skills and modify the environment in order to reduce those challenging behaviors. So really interesting girl today. I'm sure you guys have all had students similar to this. So hopefully you'll find these strategies helpful. Thanks, and have a great day.